Hey guys, Matt here from Buddha's Wisdom. Today I want to share something that completely blew my mind when I first discovered it. It's about the samurai, Japan's most feared warriors, and how they unlocked a power far greater than the sword. But here's the crazy part. The same techniques they discovered are still used today by special forces, Olympic athletes, and some of the world's top performers. Stick with me. This isn't just another history lesson. This is the real story of how warriors became legends, not through more fighting, but through inner peace. The samurai's secret weapon. To understand how this happened, we need to go way back, to the year 1191. Japan was in chaos. War was everywhere. Samurai were rising to power, training day and night to become the deadliest fighters in history. But something was missing. They had mastered the sword. Yet deep inside, they were searching for something more. Then came a Buddhist monk named Aisai. But Aisai wasn't just any monk. He was a rebel, a seeker. He traveled across dangerous seas, risked everything, and returned with something Japan had never seen before: Zen. Unlike the complicated teachings of the past, Zen was different. It was direct. It was powerful. It was a way to train the mind like a weapon. And Aisai saw something no one else did. He knew Zen wasn't just for monks sitting in temples. It was exactly what the samurai needed. So instead of heading to peaceful monasteries, he went straight to the warrior capital. The mind of a warrior. Picture this: a massive temple built into the mountains. Inside, monks sat in total silence, meditating for hours. Just outside, samurai trained with their swords, pushing themselves to the edge of human ability. Two worlds, completely different. But when they collided, something incredible happened. The samurai started realizing that Zen wasn't just about sitting still. It was the key to unlocking their full potential. Training mind and sword. The 7 virtues of Bushido weren't just nice ideas written in some old scroll. They weren't meant to sit on a shelf and be admired from a distance. These warriors lived them every single day. They trained them into their very bones. But how? How did they take these principles and turn them into real, unstoppable power? Well, this is where things get really interesting. Because the way they trained was unlike anything the world had ever seen. They didn't just practice their sword techniques. They completely rewired their minds and bodies. Let's dive into some of their most mind-blowing training methods, ones so powerful that they're still being used today. The secret of no mind. In 1632, a legendary swordmaster named Yagyu Munenori, the personal instructor to 3 shoguns, wrote something incredible. He said that the highest level of sword mastery isn't about sword techniques at all. It's about achieving something called Mushin, or no mind. Now, what does that mean? Imagine being so focused, so present that your body moves before your thoughts can get in the way. You don't hesitate. You don't overthink. You just act, effortlessly. The samurai obsessed over this state, and they found a way to train it. The samurai's ultimate training method. Here's one of their wildest training drills. A warrior would sit in deep meditation, completely still, inside a temple. Behind him, another samurai stood, sword in hand, waiting. At a random moment, without warning, he would strike. The seated warrior's job? React instantly, without thinking, without hesitation. This wasn't just about reflexes. It was about awakening a deeper awareness, a level of presence so intense that they could sense an attack before it even came. Sounds impossible, right? Well, modern neuroscience has actually proven that this kind of training rewires the brain, making reactions faster, sharper, and more precise under pressure. And the samurai weren't just training for battle. They were training their minds to be calm, focused, and completely unstoppable. But that's just one method. 1,000 cuts, 1,000 minds. Another way they trained was through repetition, but with a twist. They would take a single sword strike and repeat it thousands of times. But here's the catch. They weren't just training their bodies, they were training their minds. Each cut had to be done with total focus, as if it were the only cut that had ever existed. Why? Because they knew the real battle wasn't with the enemy. It was with their own fears, doubts, and distractions. History repeats itself now. You might be thinking, okay, Matt, this sounds intense, but what does this have to do with today? Well, here's something crazy. These same techniques, they're still being used by the world's most elite performers today. Navy SEALs meditate before high-stakes missions, just like the samurai did before battle. Olympic athletes use these exact mental focus techniques to stay calm under pressure. Even Silicon Valley CEOs are picking up meditation and sword training to sharpen their minds. Because in the end, the greatest battles aren't fought with swords, they're fought in the mind. But the real test of all this training? That came on the battlefield. So what happened when these warrior monks put their skills to the test? Well, history has some absolutely insane stories to tell. Zen in action, the samurai who defied death. All this training wasn't just for show. It was about surviving when the stakes were life and death. And in 1600, during the Battle of Sekigahara, Japan's biggest and bloodiest battle, the samurai's Zen training was put to the ultimate test. We have actual written records of warriors entering a state of total clarity, even as chaos raged all around them. They could sense exactly when to move, when to strike, and when to stay still. Some warriors described the experience as time slowing down, as if they were watching the battle from above. But here's an even crazier story. The warrior who meditated before battle. In 1582, a samurai named Tadaoki Hosokawa faced an entire army with just a small handful of men. The odds were impossible. Defeat was certain. But instead of panicking, he sat down, closed his eyes, and meditated. When he finally opened his eyes, something had changed. He led his men with such calm, precise movements that they held their position for 3 crucial hours, buying time to save thousands of lives. That's the power of a trained mind. It wasn't just about fighting harder. It was about fighting smarter, by mastering fear itself. What this means for you now, you might not be fighting on a battlefield anytime soon, I hope. But here's why this matters. The same training that helped samurai stay calm in battle. It can help you stay calm under pressure. The focus techniques that made them unstoppable. They can help you stay focused and confident, no matter what life throws at you. Because at the end of the day, Bushido isn't about the past. It's about how we face our own battles today. And if the samurai could train their minds to be fearless, unstoppable, and completely present, so can you. Through Zen, they trained their minds to be unshakable in battle. No fear, no hesitation, just pure, unstoppable focus. And this wasn't just theory. We have actual records proving that Zen helped samurai remain calm in the heat of battle, make split-second decisions, and even develop an almost superhuman awareness. The code that created legends. This fusion of Zen and warrior training changed everything. It led to the creation of a code that would define the samurai for centuries. Bushido, the way of the warrior. At the heart of Bushido were 7 virtues, principles that turned ordinary fighters into legends. Righteousness, Ji. Do what's right, no matter the cost. Like the 47 samurai who sacrificed everything for honor. Courage, Yu. Not the absence of fear, but the power to act despite it. Some samurai meditated before battle, not to erase fear, but to face it head-on. Benevolence, Jin. True warriors didn't just fight. They protected the weak, even defying orders when necessary. Respect, Rei. They treated even their enemies with honor, because real strength comes from respect, not arrogance. Honesty, Makoto. Lying was seen as poison for the soul. Samurai would confess their mistakes, even if it meant facing punishment. Honor, Meio. Being the same person in private as in public, integrity was everything. Loyalty, Chugi. But here's the twist. Loyalty wasn't blind obedience, it meant standing by what was right, even if it meant going against orders. Why this still matters today? Now you might be thinking, Matt, this is cool and all, but what does this have to do with me? Well, here's the thing. The same techniques that made samurai unstoppable are still used by the world's top athletes, elite military units, and high-level performers today. Because at the end of the day, The greatest battles aren't fought with swords. They're fought in the mind. And when you master your mind, you become truly unstoppable. So, if you want to unlock that kind of power in your own life, stay tuned, because we're just getting started. Reading the enemy's mind. The samurai trained their minds so intensely that in real duels, they claimed they could sense their opponent's intent before they even moved. Imagine that. Before the enemy's sword even left its sheath, the samurai already knew what was coming. One legendary story tells of a master swordsman who won a duel without ever drawing his sword. When his opponent attacked, he simply wasn't there anymore. He had already moved, as if he had seen the attack before it even happened. Now, that sounds like something straight out of a movie, but these warriors were living proof of how powerful Zen training could be. And no one embodied this mastery more than Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's most famous sword saint. The secret of Musashi's mind. Musashi was undefeated in over 60 duels, and in his legendary book, The Book of Five Rings, he revealed his secret. The mind must be free like the surface of still water. This wasn't just some poetic line. He wasn't talking about sword technique. He was describing a Zen state of mind, one that took years of training to master, a mind that didn't freeze under pressure, a mind that didn't get distracted by fear or doubt, a mind that simply acted with perfect clarity. And here's the thing, it wasn't just warriors who mastered this power. A Zen master's ultimate test. There's an incredible story about a Zen master named Hakuin. One day he was falsely accused of fathering a child. The entire village turned against him. But when they confronted him, do you know what he said? Is that so? That's it. No anger, no defense, just calm acceptance. And so he took care of the child for an entire year. Then, when the truth finally came out and his name was cleared, he simply returned the child with the same calm response. Is that so? Now that's keeping your cool under pressure. And this kind of mental discipline wasn't just a rare skill, it was a way of life. Across Japan, warriors who combined Zen practice with martial arts were doing things that seemed impossible, moving with perfect timing, making split-second life or death decisions, remaining completely calm, even in the face of death. But the most astonishing part? Their greatest strength wasn't just in how they fought, it was in how they lived. And that brings us to the most valuable lesson of all: living the code. The ancient samurai weren't just warriors, they were philosophers, poets, and artists, masters of a way of life that went far beyond the battlefield. In 1700, a samurai named Yamamoto Tsunetomo wrote something fascinating. The way of the samurai is found in death. Sounds dark, right? But what he really meant was revolutionary. By accepting death, by making peace with it, the samurai learned to live more fully than anyone else. Let me show you how. A samurai's morning ritual. Every morning before the sun even rose, the samurai would wake before dawn, begin their day with meditation, train with their weapons. But here's the interesting part. Before any of that, they would spend time contemplating their own death. Not in a morbid way, but as a reminder to live each day with absolute purpose. Every action, no matter how small, was a chance to train their minds. And their daily routines? They were incredible. They alternated between intense training and peaceful arts, calligraphy, the tea ceremony, poetry, flower arrangement. Why? Because they understood something profound. True strength comes from balance. Even something as simple as arranging their armor became a form of meditation, not out of vanity, but as a way to train their focus and discipline. And here's the mind-blowing part. The samurai's way of life didn't die with them. Their influence spread far beyond the battlefield, shaping Japanese culture itself. From the graceful movements of the tea ceremony to the minimalist beauty of Zen gardens, even today's Japanese architecture and design carries the traces of this ancient warrior wisdom. Who would have thought that the deadliest fighters in Japan would end up influencing art more than war? But that's not even the most amazing part. The legacy lives on. What these ancient warrior monks discovered centuries ago is still changing lives today. Because real power, it isn't in your sword, it isn't even in your skills, it's in your mind. Think about it. We just saw how deadly warriors transformed into enlightened masters. How the same principles that made them unstoppable in battle helped them find inner peace. And here's the incredible thing. You can use these same principles in your own life. Whether you're facing challenges at work, dealing with stress, trying to become a stronger version of yourself. The wisdom of these warrior monks shows us the way. Their 7 virtues, their training methods, their daily practices, they all point to one simple truth. Real strength starts from within. And just like the ancient samurai found their power in Zen temples, you can begin this journey today. If you want to dive deeper into this incredible wisdom, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Drop a comment below. Which of the 7 virtues resonated with you the most? And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.